This is my second cup of coffee, and I'm surprised I haven't had an anxiety attack yet. Cool. Hi, you guys. We are recording our first episode, I guess, in person.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
The other ones have been in remote. Yeah, you're right.
Okay, episode 2, Helle crafts, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Fucking insane. Hopefully you guys like Princess Diana. I know I did, so I think that's kind of all that matters. Just kidding.
We're doing this for us.
Yes. Okay, so do you want to just jump right into it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure, my Fargo impression. Sure. Okay, so Helle Lork Nielsen. I don't know if I'm saying that right because I don't speak whatever the fuck they speak in Denmark.
Danish?
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never been to Europe. I'm a heathen. So she was born July 7th, 1947 in Charlottenlund, Denmark, which is a suburb on the north coast of, on the coast north of Copenhagen.
Okay.
It is apparently one of the wealthiest areas of Denmark. So I guess that makes sense for in the 70s approximately when she moved from Denmark to America. It probably wasn't as easy as it is today to move countries. So it makes sense that she is probably from a wealthy family.
Oh, must be nice.
I know.
Helle was a very bright and outgoing child who enjoyed school. She made a lot of friends easily and was still well liked as an adult, which must be nice because I don't know what that's like either.
2-friend club.
Yeah, exactly. Helle had an inborn ability to understand and learn languages pretty quickly, and during her teen years she learned French and English and was also able to understand German, Norwegian, and Swedish, which is fucking insane.
Yeah, that's a lot of languages, and I don't know anything because I'm a heathen, but I don't think that all of those languages are very similar.
They can't be.
Yeah, sometimes they say oh, if you speak Italian, you can basically speak Spanish.
Yeah,
they're similar, but I don't think that the list of languages you just listed off is like that. So
it's unbelievable to think that English is the hardest language to learn.
Yes.
But also to add, what was that, 3-4 more on top of that? Yeah. I don't have the brain capacity for that.
Me either.
After she graduated high school, Helle went on to attend college and worked as an au pair in France. And if you don't know, an au pair is essentially where you just are like a live-in nanny. Family gives you a place to live and room and food and all of that.
Yeah, the
stuff.
Thing that differentiates of au pair is that they are foreign and they have to come.
Yes, good point.
Live with you.
Right. So at the age of 20, she had a very striking beauty that would literally turn heads, is what I found in a lot of the research. And while living in France, she got offered a job as a flight attendant. But it's worth noting that during this time they called them stewardesses, which I think is just such a fucked up way to label someone. But anyways, she worked for Capital Airways, and in 1969, when she was 22 years old, she heard that Pan Am Airways was hiring, and she applied and got the job. Helle was one of 8 people selected out of a group of 200 candidates.
Wow.
Yeah, so that says a lot. It says a lot in a lot of good and bad ways, especially when we're looking at it from the perspective of the high standards that they held back then.
Yeah.
You had to have a certain look.
High physical standards specifically.
Yes, yeah.
It would be really skinny.
Yeah, which is really why I don't like the whole stewardess thing too, because they were kind of expected to look and act like models.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're also meat to the men on these planes too.
And it was probably mostly men who were flying because it was expensive and whatever, and also that women, or today we think so much of flight attendants as the extended arm of the pilot, basically, that they help with the safety and the actual, getting the doors unlocked and everything, locking down parts of the cabin so that they're not flying everywhere when you hit turbulence. But back then I feel that was the afterthought.
Yes.
For the stewardess. It was just be a bartender.
Drink server, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up too. Like, I should say that my fiance is a flight attendant, has been for almost like 4 years now. But still, there's still some people that have that, I guess, kind of fucked up perception that the flight attendants are only there to serve them drinks.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, what, I don't know. I won't get into it.
We were talking about it before we got on mic, that like there's so many videos of like people punching
Yes.
American Airlines
Yes.
flight attendants in the back of the head.
And like, why would you risk? That guy just wanted to use the bathroom, but like, we don't know. I don't know if, like I said off mic, that if they were taxiing in or out of the runway. And at that point, you have to be seated with your seatbelt on. Keep your seatbelt on when the fucking sign is on, people.
Yeah.
It's on for a reason.
Always have it on.
Yes.
Unless you're actively getting up or
Right.
sitting down, just have it on.
And only get up when you can,
Yeah.
when they tell you to. But like, why would you risk punching someone like that? Like, yeah, they don't work for the government, but like, you can get very hefty fines and prison time. And this guy can't fly. He's banned from flying. I don't know if it's just from American or all airlines. Yeah. So you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, continue.
So when Helle got the job, her class was sent out to Miami for training, and given her previous experience at Capital Airways, it made it very easy for her to finish first in her class with Pan Am. And during her time in Miami, Helle lived at a nearby motel that was pretty heavily populated with other airline employees, which now, like, my fiance and I, we live right by, it's O'Hare?
Yes.
Yeah, it's O'Hare. We live right by O'Hare, so it's pretty common to drive past an apartment building that is called like a crash pad. So captains and flight attendants are like just staying there together. But I can't imagine living in a motel of all fucking places.
Especially in Miami.
Yeah, right. And on May 24th of 1969, while waiting at the motel before a flight, she met Richard Crafts, who was 31 at the time.
So she was how old exactly?
She was
69.
69, so she was 22 when she got the job at Pan Am.
Okay, so she was about 22 or 23.
Yeah.
So that's not that big of an age difference.
No.
I just don't like him, so
No.
I was ready to pounce on
Exactly.
that. I was like,
So while on the job, Helle met Richard. At the time, Richard was a pilot for Eastern Airlines.
Eastern was dissolved in 1991. So if you're
Oh, damn.
a youngin like us that does not recognize Eastern Airlines as a reputable airline,
Right.
it was at the time, according to my research, but it's since been gone
Right.
since before I was even born.
I guess you could say like Eastern was the Delta Airlines of
Yeah.
that time frame. Like that's the company you wanted to be with in some senses.
Yeah, and Pan American was also, which was who Helle worked for, was also super reputable.
Yes,
but
yeah.
they just both dissolved.
Right. And Richard, I guess it's worth mentioning for context reasons. Richards was born in New York City on December 20th of 1937. And a little bit of background, in 1956, after dropping out of college, Richard joined the Marines, and this is where he became interested in aviation and actually became pretty proficient at flying helicopters. He's been described as having a very scruffy look and rough around the edges, so he definitely didn't fit into the stereotypical look of a pilot back then, which in today, ironically, is kind of the exact opposite. I feel like a lot of the pilots are older white men, but they're also run down and rugged as fuck looking. But they're also really overworked.
Insanely overworked.
Yeah.
Oh my god, reform for pilots, please.
Yes. When Richard and Helle met, he was actually already engaged, but allegedly Helle didn't seem to mind, which I have a hard time believing, especially with how the rest of this story is going to go too.
Yeah, I mean, I have some theories, and we can get into it more later, but I have a theory that this was a marriage out of convenience rather than love, kind of like Diana and Charles.
Okay.
Maybe she didn't care a little bit, but like said she didn't care more than was true.
Right. Okay.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
Maybe.
That's good point.
Wild speculation. But.
Right. Over the next few years, they had an on and off again relationship. They frequently fought, sometimes in public, but nonetheless, they stuck together, which is unfortunate in the long run. But I understand wanting to be with someone kind of despite how shitty they are for you.
Yeah.
Not saying I relate to Helle in any way, because
You've never been put in a wood chipper?
Never been put in a wood chipper. Not yet.
Not yet. Christian might.
Yeah.
Get to it one day.
Yeah. My fiance comes home tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. In 1975, Helle became pregnant with their first child, and in November of that year, they got married in New Hampshire. In 1975, Helle was 39 and Richard was 42 once they got married. They settled in, is it Newton?
Newtown.
Newtown?
Newtown, Connecticut, yeah.
Oh, okay. I have one W. Where they...
It is one W, but they pronounce it Newtown.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I know, it's... New England is notorious for, like, saying the names of their towns very strangely. Like, not how you would think it is, like Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And all of those places. I lived in Connecticut, or not in Connecticut, I lived in New England, for 4 years because that's where I went to college. So, like, I'm slightly familiar with a lot of these places. Like, I have friends that are, like, from Newtown.
Oh, shit. Okay. So while they were there, they had, or I guess when they settled there, they had 3 kids. Newtown is a pretty affluent area and is ranked as the wealthiest town in all of Connecticut.
Oh, yeah.
Which is insane. But
so she just went from, like, wealth to wealth, which, like, supports my theory of marriage of convenience, not out of love.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I didn't even think about this, that sort of angle. In fact, in 2022, data from the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey said that the average income in Newtown was $140,000, which is 104.7% higher than the U.S. median incomes.
Wow.
Yeah. Over the next few years, Helle raised their first child, and eventually they had 2 more. And after their 3rd child was born, Helle returned to work and they hired a 19-year-old nanny, Dawn Thomas. At this time, we're now in the early 80s, and together their income exceeded about $125,000 a year, which actually put them in the top 5% of wage earners in America.
Wow.
It's crazy. I mean...
One thing that, we haven't mentioned this yet, but at this time, like the whole time, I guess, Richard was also a part-time policeman for Southbury, Connecticut, and auxiliary for Newtown, Connecticut. So, like, I don't think that either of those are, like, volunteer positions. Like, I think they're paid. And so, if you are already in... But, like, I can't imagine that they're paid a lot.
Right.
So, if you're already in the top 5% of income earners in the country, like... Why is your side hustle being a low-paid part-time policeman?
Yeah.
Like, I understand that there are money-hungry people who, like, want a lot. But, like, if you're a skilled worker, like a pilot, you can't find a related side hustle that also pays you a lot of money. Like, why is your...
That was kind of a huge jump, too, to go from aviation to being so stuck on the ground.
Yeah, like, as a policeman, which, like, a lot of people view as kind of, like, grunt workers.
Yeah.
And I'm sure in, like, a very... white collar, you know, expensive town like Newtown, it's like not...
There's not a lot of racial diversity.
Yeah.
If any.
And I don't know, I feel like they would think that that's a very low class job.
Right.
Probably.
I think he too had, and I have it in my notes later on, but I think he had a huge infatuation with kind of having that controlling place in life also, because I mean, when you're in the plane, they're behind the cockpit. I mean, like, yeah, they control everything that's going on too, but like
although in the 80s, like the door to the cockpit was locked like it is today.
Yeah.
Because that was post 9/11. Like they used to kind of come and go as they wanted.
Very good point. That's so crazy.
Still, I do think that he is, and I think that like that can probably be said somewhat for pilots in general, is that they can kind of be like control freaks, right? Because you're in charge of this whole metal contraption that's in the air. But like, so maybe it's just like that, like the policeman is kind of a more direct form of control because you actually get to like physically touch people.
Right.
Beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Richard actually managed all of their finances, which is no fucking surprise to me at all.
Control freak.
Yes, but this allowed him to spend a large amount of money collecting guns. And allegedly, he had mounted enough guns to arm 50 men.
Wow!
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah. No one person needs that much artillery.
No.
There's no fucking reason for it.
Holy shit.
Yeah, to arm 50 men. in your house. And
Jeez.
they had a pretty decent sized house, but I don't know. I
Even
don't
if
know
you
where I was
have
going
one
with
in
that.
every room,
Yeah.
you don't have a 50 house,
No.
50 room house.
No. Hella's friends knew, I think, going back to the point that I made of him wanting to have a lot of control, and having said earlier that sometimes they argued in public, which we all argue, but they would actually really argue in a pretty physical and a very aggressive way in public. But this was no surprise to Hella's friends because they knew that Richard had a bad temper. It's said that Helle told some of her friends that she feared for her safety and was worried that he might hurt her, which is a very scary thing to also kind of foreshadow that for yourself and see that as a looming thing that very well might happen.
This is a really interesting, we did not plan this, but it's such an interesting juxtaposition to the Princess Diana thing that Princess Diana was paranoid about things, but kind of not I don't think that Charles was ever actually trying to kill her with a car or whatever.
Same.
But she was very paranoid about it.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Helle was a little bit paranoid and deservingly so.
Yes.
I think Charles was a piece of shit, but I don't think that he was the same level of physically abusive as Richard Crofts is.
Right.
So it's just interesting that we're doing these back to back unplanned.
Yeah, that wasn't very unplanned. How funny. And basically from the start they had a very unstable relationship and then unstable marriage. It's also well known that Richard cheated on Helle even before they were married, which makes me very, very surprised that earlier on, like I said, Helle was aware that he was engaged once they first met and she was okay with it. I just can't ever imagine being in a situation where I'm that other person.
Yeah, same.
That just... It's unhealthy from the get, but it's also just... It's really fucked up. You guys don't do that shit.
Yeah, open relationships are one thing, but it's got to be consensual, not monogamy.
Right, exactly.
Not cheating.
And if you're not happy, do the right recourses and just move on.
I will never understand these men that feel the need to murder their wives.
Right.
Just break up.
Right, exactly.
Divorce is a lot cheaper than going to jail for 50 fucking years.
Well, not if you get out and get to enjoy the rest of your life. So later on, when Richard was asked why they got married, he, in an interview or questioning with police or whatever, said that, quote, Helle was pregnant at the time we were married. We knew she was pregnant. It was far too advanced for a doctor to perform an abortion, and we decided to get married.
Jeez.
So there was nothing there. I don't believe there was anything there.
I don't either.
It's reported that Helle was seen in public several times with bruises on her face, which that would be where I draw the fucking line.
Yeah.
I'd be goddamned if you're gonna lay any fucking hand on me.
Yeah.
Unless I'm telling you to choke me harder. That's the only time. That's the only pass you get. In 1982, Richard, like you said, he was I have that he was a volunteer auxiliary police officer.
Okay, maybe that one, but he was a part-time at two different police forces.
Okay.
So maybe the one was voluntary, but the other one was not.
Good to know. So since he was volunteering, he wasn't paid for his time there, but he took this shit really fucking seriously. It's also said that this fucking twerp would hang around the station on his days off and even report to police calls without authorization.
Jesus, what a fucking hardo.
Yes.
It's like the mall cop who really wants to be a real cop. So he just can't let it go.
Yes.
Has his own police scanner and shit. Fuck.
And so in 1986, he was hired as a police officer in the nearby town of Southbury. His fucking salary was $7 an hour.
That's $18.92 today.
Wow.
So that's almost $19 an hour.
Damn. But not only did he pay for his own way through training, he also bought a 1985 Ford Crown Victoria. I don't even know what the hell that is, but I'm sure it matters to somebody out there. So that's actually the same car that the Connecticut State Police used, and he decked it out just like theirs with his own money.
Oh my god.
Yes. So after finding, I'm going to kind of have a hard jump here, but that's really, I guess, the background on their lives at that point. But to go back to the point that Helle knew that Richard was cheating on her, with several people, after finding several phone calls to an unknown number in New Jersey from their phone bills, Helle hires Detective Keith Mayo, who was a former Connecticut cop, to keep tabs on Richard. Keith captures several pictures of Richard with other women. One, I believe, actually turned out to be a fellow flight attendant. I don't know if it was the same airline or anything like that, but I guess he kept it in the family.
Yeah, he really liked flight attendants because actually, I have this in my notes later, but during the trial, 2 women testified that they were like both in long-term affairs with him. I don't know if they were like coinciding, but 2 different flight attendants.
Damn.
So
wow.
He had type.
And that just only verified everything that Helle already knew, but she feared was still going on. Now, it's not really understood why Helle tolerated his infidelity. Maybe it was, I guess you can say, for the sake of the kids or to keep up their appearances. Remember, they lived in a very affluent area. But no matter what it is, she didn't deserve to be treated like this or to be with this trash ass guy.
So I watched the Forensic Files episode of this, and the like opening scene of this episode, because Forensic Files does a lot of reenactments, is a reenactment of Helle meeting Keith Mayo outside of a diner for him to like give her like,
it's so dramatic
the
too.
Pictures so dramatic, but I just love that because it's so fucking classic New England that like they're outside of a diner. Like, we, when I was in college, went to a diner probably twice a week.
Really?
Like, that is so fucking New England, especially like small town New England, which like Newtown has gotten bigger, but like at the time was a super small town, so like I'm sure there was a great diner in that town and I would love to go eat there right now.
Oh, that's cool. Not too long after seeing these pictures in November of 1986, Helle files for divorce and tells her attorney, among many people, that she fears for her life. Helle's attorney, whose name was Diane Anderson, said Helle told her, quote, "If anything happens to me, don't believe that it was an accident." Helle also told her attorney that Richard has a lot of guns in the house and that he has physically abused her in the past. In filing for divorce, Helle decided to obtain a no-fault divorce as opposed to charging Richard with adultery. She was concerned about their kids and what the community might think, which I would love to have money and especially like an income base of like $125K a year, but like I would not want to be around a society where you're worried so much about what your neighbors and the people in town think.
Oh yeah, this is some like waspy ass, like rich New York City suburban bullshit is what this is.
Luckily though, I guess luckily or not luckily. Anyways, the divorce papers were written and dated on 11/11, but they were never served. So I guess take that as you will, but this all also kind of happened really pretty quickly too. Like the timeline there's not a whole lot of room. I don't know if you did any side research on it, but one thing that I found was that in research, Richard had told Helle that he had cancer. It was colon cancer.
What?
Yeah, but it wasn't mentioned in Forensic Files.
No, what a manipulative fuck if that's a lie.
Yeah, it was a bold-faced lie.
I mean, obviously he's still alive.
Right,
so
right. Well,
fuck.
So I forget when this came up in the timeline of when he told her that he had cancer, but it kind of seemed to coincide with when she first mentioned wanting to divorce him. So he told her that he had colon cancer, and I'm just led to believe that that's what kept her from not moving forward with the divorce and wanting to stay and like take care of him and kind of keep the family in check. But
also if she thought he had colon cancer back in this time, cancer was not treatable in general, and
right.
Like, even today colon cancer is a very severe type of cancer that like she was probably like, bitch, he's gonna be dead in 2 years. I'll be scot-free. I'll get that pension.
Yes. Don't ever lie about having cancer, you guys.
No, that's fucked up.
That's fucked up. It's very fucked up. But I'll jump the gun and I'll go ahead and say that he didn't have cancer. Helle, it even got to a point where Helle called Richard's doctor, and the doctor said, "Don't know what he's talking about. He's perfectly healthy."
Shit.
And then later on, further down the line, Richard tried to be a sack of shit and tell Helle that his cancer had come back. So he claims to have beat it the first time, and he was supposedly going to all these chemo treatments or whatever it was. But he was just off getting his dick sucked.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Well, and it's like so hard to like keep that shit straight if you're both on an like airline schedule because like as you know, you're gone for like days at a time. That like she's gone for days at a time. He's also gone for days at a time. Who
Right.
knows like how often they were in the same place.
Right, right.
So they were, yeah, that's very hard to keep track of if you're not together all the time.
God. The next thing I have is on the night of November 18th, 1986. Helle landed back in New York after working a turn from Frankfurt, or a turn to Frankfurt, Germany. A turn is if you're not engaged to a flight attendant. A turn is where you go from your base destination to a second location and then you come right back. So it's just a turn.
Like a round trip flight without getting off.
Yeah, exactly. So when she got back to her base airport in...
Well, yeah, her base was JFK in
yes,
New York, so...
Yeah. But when she got back, she was taken home by another flight attendant. And when they pulled up to her house around 6:30, 7 o'clock p.m., she sighed and said, Richard's home.
God, girl,
I know. And this was, unfortunately, the last time she was ever seen alive.
Also, one thing I would like to point out, because the person that I am currently dating is a German citizen, and this is always something that has fascinated me, because he was born in 1988, to out his age.
Okay.
But
damn.
But at this time, it was still East Germany and West Germany, which I just think is like so fascinating, because this doesn't feel like that long ago.
Right.
But like that notion of like Germany being two separate countries feels like forever ago.
It does. It
so
really
just
does.
A little context on like the timing of this, that it was still West Germany. Frankfurt was still in West Germany at the time.
Wow. The following day, the entire family was supposed to go to Richard's sister's house. Now, I don't know if this was for Thanksgiving plans, because I saw that in some research, but then I also saw that they went to his sister's house because there was a power outage due to a storm.
Oh, I thought that he just took them because he was being a piece of shit and trying to get his kids out of the house where his dead wife
Right,
was.
It very well could be that too. I couldn't find anything that was consistent enough to say like this is exactly what it was, but we have 3 circumstances out there. So that morning, Richard woke up the entire house at 6 a.m., which is a normal day for me, but like waking up like kids at 6 a.m., that's a venture in itself.
I can barely wake up at 6 a.m.
You're going to bed at 6. You're a night person. I'm not.
I am a night person.
So he was rushing them out to the car and then drove them over to his sister's house. Once he dropped everyone off, everyone meaning the kids and the nanny, he went back to his house. Now, it's worth mentioning here that his sister lived in Westport, Connecticut, which is about an hour away from the Crafts' house. There was absolutely no need to wake everyone up that early. And a few days later, after there was no sign of Helle, Helle missed her sign-in for her next trip, and her close friends and co-workers started to talk and grew very concerned. Her friends called her house, and Richard told them that she went to Denmark to visit her mom, who was sick, and later on he would tell a different story to some people and say that she was on vacation with a friend, but he didn't know who this friend was.
And in the Canary Islands, very specific.
Is that where it was?
That's what he said. She
That's
was
very
on vacation
specific.
in the Canary Islands.
Where no one can reach him.
And just to emphasize how fucking, like, you know, diabolical this whole plan was, and, like, that this wasn't just, like, a, you know, like, panic thing.
Right.
He took her car back to JFK, all the way back to
Did
Queens.
he?
Yeah.
What
so,
the
like,
fuck? I didn't see that.
Yeah, he dropped her car off and, like, put it in, like, the employee parking lot
Oh,
at
wow.
JFK to say that, like, she was on a flight.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Wow. People, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is fucking crazy. And I will say too now, like, when I'm thinking about like crew scheduling or like missing a sign-in, like if my fiance is like 5 minutes late from his sign-in, and it could be a matter of like we're all the way at Terminal A, but he has to be dropped off at Terminal 3, and you can only sign in on your tablet that they give you when you're in, I think it's like 60 feet from Terminal 3.
Yeah.
But crew scheduling is quick as fuck to call nowadays. And I mean, obviously there's the matter of like cell phones that are, but it's crazy to think that it took a couple days for people to really notice that she was gone.
I know. And like, I mean, like, even if you weren't a flight attendant, but I feel like if you don't show up for work,
yeah,
you're getting a call at least that day, if not like that hour. Like, especially for something like a flight attendant, which is like you have to have like a certain number per passengers and like per plane and whatever. Like I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but something like that, that's a very, and like that flight attendants aren't just like hanging around the airport like waiting for another shift or whatever. Like that is,
so they do have standby flight attendants now, but I don't know if that was a thing back then.
Yeah, maybe not. Even if you're not that specific of a job where you have to like have a certain number per people, whatever, like you do as a flight attendant, you like, aren't you still gonna call your employees and be like, where the fuck are you?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
What are you doing, Pan Am?
Yeah.
Putting any blame on anybody, but call your employees. Treat your employees like humans.
Yes, today too, even more than ever.
Yeah, exactly.
So people close to them said that Richard had no sense of urgency, and he didn't file any reports or speak to people asking if they knew anything, which is, I guess, makes sense now because he went the extra mile, I guess, and parked a car in employee parking. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that.
So the attorney Diana Anderson and the private investigator Keith Mayo team up to start kind of doing their own investigation into this whole thing, since there was no actual police investigation going on yet because there was no missing persons case.
Right.
So the first thing that Keith did was interview the nanny, and she talks about, there was like a home video that he, I guess like not a home video, but it looks like
it looks like a home video.
Yeah. Because I think technology was just so shitty in 1986. But basically he's talking to the nanny and she describes a mysterious dark stain on the living room carpet right after Helle went missing. And then there was another stain right inside the bedroom about the size of a watermelon. Shortly after that, Richard ripped up and replaced the carpet. And he had bought a large freezer right before she went missing. And then it went missing from the garage right after she went missing.
How weird.
And then there is a charge on his credit card for a wood chipper and truck rental on November 20th, which was 2 days later.
Oh, God.
He had also bought the freezer, the sheets, and a comforter on the same credit card. So, like, boy just, like, made his own evidence case for him fucking killing his wife. So one thing I thought was really interesting is Keith I guess went on a mission and went to the dump and found the piece of carpet.
Isn't that fucking insane? I wouldn't know where to begin.
I mean, I guess that's why you're a PI.
Right.
Like, and I'm not. But, yeah, that's so crazy. But not crazy, sorry. That's so interesting. But one of the things that I think is so, like, and unless you're a true crime person, you probably would never even think about this, but, like, you cannot use that piece of carpet as evidence because it's been in the dump.
Yeah.
Because now it's contaminated with so much other evidence and DNA and everything that, I mean, the steps that Richard took to try and cover this shit up is diabolical. Like, there is no other word for it because he thought of every detail, putting the car at the airport, like, oh my gosh. What fascinates me about people like this is, like, he has a lot of the marks of what we think of when we think of, like, serial killers in terms of, like, planning and all of that.
Right.
But somehow was able to hold on to all of that, like, anger and planning and whatever, and never kill anyone before her. That we know of.
Right.
But, like, probably not. Versus Ted Bundy, who similar traits in a lot of ways, but murdered dozens of women.
Do you think he was holding back this whole time?
And that's probably why he got involved with law enforcement, because it's a way to project those, tendencies, but in a legal for a lot of
Who did
things.
That? Was Gacy in ties with the police in some way? I know he's pretty political.
He, like, was friends with the police. Same with Ed Kemper.
Yeah.
They were both, like, friends with the police, but they weren't really, like, they didn't, like, work with the police.
Okay.
But there are other, I mean, BTK worked as a surveillance, like, installer for ADT, or is that what it's called? ADT? Yeah.
ADP? No, ADP is the clock-in system.
ATP, I think, is maybe, I don't know.
Whatever, they're not going to sponsor us now.
No. So after Keith did a lot of this investigation, found the credit card receipts, found the carpet at the dump, finally the Newtown police get involved, and in a official missing persons report was filed on December 1st.
Took way too fucking long.
Yeah, 2 weeks. So then Richard was given he was given 3 lie detector tests.
Jeez.
And he passed all of them. That's scary.
That is very terrifying.
And why we don't permit lie detector tests in court anymore.
Right.
But
they're such a crock of shit anyways.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. They've shown that there's so many ways to pass them without, while you know you're lying and stuff. If you've watched White Collar, the TV show, every time that he has to take a lie detector test, he takes a pin, like a push pin, and he pricks his finger with it as he's lying, and for some reason that helps him control his heart rate, which is mostly what a lie detector, like a polygraph, is tracking your heart rate. I never got full clarity on this. Maybe you have additional information, but for some reason the county prosecutor took this case to the state police. I guess the only thing that I can really think of a motive for that is that because the state police has so much more money, and this was ultimately a very expensive and long forensic battle. Missing persons report on December 1st. They didn't search the Kraft house until December 26th, which I don't know if that was specifically because they were going on vacation. Because when they searched the house, Richard and the kids were on vacation in Florida. They were not in Connecticut. So I don't know if they plotted to wait, or if it was the holidays, or if it was just they didn't have enough evidence for the warrant. Right. I don't really know what it was, but yeah, it took them 25 days to get into the house to actually perform the search.
25 days on top of the 2 weeks that it took them to even start investigating. Jeez Louise. And at this point, I think since it's now been handed over to state police, this is when Dr. Henry Lee comes into play. He was the director of the Connecticut State Police Forensics Laboratory. He is also, quote, one of the world's most respected forensic experts, which I don't fucking agree with.
You have very strong feelings.
I have very choice words. So if we can pause here, if I may. Yes. I think that Dr. Lee, though he's done some great things, I think he's a steaming piece of shit. Okay, so if you guys don't know who Dr. Lee is, he was involved in the cases of Nicole Brown Simpson, John Bonet, Lacey Peterson, Kathleen Peterson, if you watch The Staircase on Netflix, Vincent Foster, Michael Peterson, cases post 9/11, the DC sniper shootings, Kaylee Anthony, and even reinvestigated the assassination of John F. Kennedy. So I think you have to obviously have a certain caliber in your studies and how your mind works to be involved in so many big cases like this. But here's why I don't like him. And I'll try to sum this up as quickly as I can. But in 2018, the Supreme Court threw out a murder conviction against Sean Henning and Ralph Birch after their attorneys argued that their convictions were based largely on very inaccurate testimony given by Dr. Lee regarding a blood smear found on a towel at the crime scene. So this case goes back to 1989. Sean and Ralph were homeless teenagers who were sentenced to life for the stabbing of 65-year-old Everett Carr. Sean and Ralph had stabbed, allegedly, Everett 27 times and slit his throat, all without getting any blood on themselves, or leaving behind a single piece of physical DNA evidence.
By the way, that noise was at 27 stabbings and a throat slashing, not at not getting blood on themselves.
Yeah. That's intense.
That's an aggressive murder.
Yeah. So hold on to that. So in his testimony, Dr. Lee stated that that spot of blood was tested and was further found to be consistent with blood and, quote, could be blood. This bloodstained towel was, in Dr. Lee's mind, what the teenagers used to wipe themselves off. So years later, a lab tech testified that the towel, in fact, had never been tested for blood. I also want to mention that this was 5 years before the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson, just to kind of set that, I guess, precedent of this is before he really blew up in the forensics world.
Yeah.
And on the stand, Dr. Lee said they did, quote, chemical presumptive tests, but further lab testing should have been done to confirm that the samples and findings. Decades later, lab tests concluded that the stains were not blood on that towel. There were no blood stains.
Fuck.
So of fucking course, Dr. Lee was adamant that he did not make a mistake. In fact, he said, quote, a more accurate statement from the lab tech should have stated that the evidence was submitted, but nobody tested it, not that the towel was never tested. And at the time of their charges being vacated, which was 30 years later, Sean and Ralph were in their mid 50s.
God.
There's also 3 other very large cases in which Dr. Lee has either given false testimony, didn't turn in evidence, or has done so many things to get a conviction against some people that clearly in this case just didn't fucking deserve it. I won't go into detail on all of them, but I'll give names. So one of them involves the murder of actress Lena Clarkson. Another involves Carrie Myers from 1990, and another case in 1988 for the murder of Joyce Stockmole. Um, the son of a bitch just didn't turn in evidence. He has been seen by other forensic investigators where he was holding on to evidence, he left with it, and it never showed up ever again.
That's so fucked.
And there's another case where blood type, in the case of Carrie Myers, and Carrie is a man.
Oh, good distinction. I thought that was a woman the whole time.
So Carrie's wife, Janet, was beaten to death with a baseball bat. And
Wait, the wife was also murdered? Or he murdered her?
Carrie murdered his wife.
Oh, okay. I was like, fuck, what bad luck for their families.
Right. So Carrie's wife, Janet, was murdered with the bat, and in the court documents it said that Carrie, along with another man or another person, had beaten his wife to death, so those 2 were convicted. But again, in Lee's testimony, he said that there was blood present, but there was never any blood found on her husband's pants.
Jeez.
So, fuck Dr. Lee. I don't care what else he's been in. I don't like the dude.
He's done a lot of good work, but he's not a good person. Is
Yeah.
what I'm going to conclude out of this. Because I do think that his work on this case is probably... I'm not a forensic expert, but I'm going to venture out and say that this was groundbreaking and set a lot of precedent for how to handle cases of this nature.
100%.
But yeah, he's done some fucked up shit. So it doesn't change how I feel about this case. Like, I still think that Richard was 100% guilty.
Yes.
But it causes us to need to go back and do verification on other cases 100%. That he worked on.
Which, just, let's get it right from the beginning.
Yeah.
Let's get it right. Like, at this point now, he does also have an entire university building named after him. And he's...
Fuck.
Yeah.
So, he started with a blood analysis. He found 5 tiny dots on the mattress that... in the pictures in forensic files, like, I could not see. No. I would have never found that
They're
shit.
very little.
So,
even when they circled them, I still couldn't really see anything.
I was like, what are we looking at here? So he did analysis to prove that it was first human blood. Then he did an antigen test, which proved that it was type O positive, which was known to be Helle's blood type. And it was proved to be circulatory blood, meaning from an injury, and not menstrual blood, which could have totally been on a mattress that a woman slept on, right? Like, we bleed in our sleep when we're on our periods.
Wait, you mean doesn't stop while you're sleeping?
No.
Oh, wow.
Never. It never stops. He also found that there was an angle of 10 degrees, meaning that the person had to be kneeling or leaning over the bed, and that it was a medium velocity that was what caused the blood spatter, meaning that it was likely from a blunt object. Right. And there was a 6-inch smear on the bed. He also determined, which this makes me cringe to say it out loud because of what you just talked about, but bathroom towels that had been washed recently, but they did a test that said that they had been soaked in blood before they were washed. And, like, did this bitch not know what bleach was?
Right.
Come on, Richard, get your shit together.
Or throw them away. Burn them.
Burn them!
Get rid of them.
Yes.
We're not trying to help you, but just fucking burn the evidence.
Yes. The night that she got home, she was going through her mail, and she had already changed into her nightgown while she was looking through her mail. She had a letter that had her name on the envelope. She folded said letter and put it in the front pocket of her nightgown, like a smoker's pocket. Yeah. They started arguing, and Richard got so angry because he is a horrible person that he hit her twice over the head with his heavy police flashlights, like one of those long-handled like monster flashlights. Yeah.
And for some reason, I feel like every family has them. Like, my dad definitely has them, and my dad's... Well, he's a mechanic, too. So I guess that's
You need
different.
a powerful light for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any family that, like does homework or
Yeah.
like housework or like yard work or anything that might need something, or like car work.
Right.
Yeah, you probably have one of those hand flashlights.
Yeah.
Or like in Florida, we have them a lot because when the
Gators.
Yes, to smack that gator with my flashlight. No, we lose power in hurricanes, so you have to have like powerful flashlights.
Okay.
And stuff. So you have like a stockpile of flashlights.
That makes sense.
Anyway, so he hit her with a flashlight. After she was presumably dead, he stuffed her body into that large commercial freezer that he had bought like shortly before this fight. He expressly froze her body for the purpose of grinding it up more easily.
Jesus.
Because then he rented that wood chipper and truck, hauled the wood chipper out to a part of, or like he owned a piece of land out somewhere that was more remote than where they lived, chopped her body up with a chainsaw, and then put her arms, legs, and head into the wood chipper. And this is proposed, obviously it's hard to prove, but this was proposed by the prosecution that he only used her arms, legs, and head into the wood chipper because those are the parts of the body that can be used for an identification. So like her torso might be somewhere like buried.
Oh fuck, I didn't.
And we just don't know.
Oh my god.
But it's so hard to tell because after he chopped up her body and put those pieces into the wood chipper, he projected the parts coming, like the fragments coming out of the wood chipper into the back of this truck that he rented. It was like a box truck for everybody.
Like a U-Haul.
Yeah, like a U-Haul, exactly. And then he drove the truck out to the river and shoveled her remains from the wood chipper out of the truck into the river.
What the hell?
Just so dehumanizing. This was
to say the least, yeah.
Yeah, this was your wife. This is the mother of your children. Even if you don't want to be married to her anymore, she's still the mother of your children. If you give a shit about your children, you don't do this.
No.
But this
you don't even think this kind of shit.
Exactly. This man is horrible.
Oh my god. I could not imagine scooping up my soon-to-be husband's remains. Right? Holy shit.
I can't even think of doing this to like the person that I hate most on this planet. Let alone someone that I once loved enough to propose to, marry, and
I can't imagine
with.
Like burying my dog like in the family backyard. Oh my god.
So one of the other things by the prosecution is there's no actual cause of death that could ever be determined because we don't have like a whole body.
Right.
So one of the things that they think is that either the blunt force trauma from the flashlight is what killed her. Maybe he like caught her on a soft spot on her head or something. Yeah. Or he might have strangled her and he was just so much stronger than her because he was a big man and she was a normal sized woman.
Right.
That he just overpowered her very easily and strangled her.
God.
And at 2:30 in the morning, a snowplow driver, because it snowed that night, like really heavily, a snowplow driver was out and saw the wood chipper and the truck on a bridge at about 2:30 in the morning, and he saw a man standing next to it. And then about an hour later, he saw the same wood chipper on River Road, which was, at first when I read that, I was like, how does he know it's the same wood chipper? But like, honestly, who else is out with a wood chipper at this time? So I don't give a shit if he knew that it was the same.
Well, in this time of year too, like, what the hell do you need a wood chipper for?
Yeah, you wood chip in like the fall to like put out chips of wood to like build, you know, the bedding of like your lawns and shit. Not in the dead of winter when it's gonna get snowed over tomorrow or concurrently. Ultimately, there was no body or weapon ever found at the scene or elsewhere, so they had to bring in tons of different investigators and experts to help with this investigation, which is one of the reasons why this case is so fascinating to me, because there's so many people that like helped out with this case, like
brilliant fucking people too. And it's nice when you can get them together, and maybe this is probably an advantage that the state had in this case because they could use all these resources and they could fly in all these other people, but it's great when they have all this mind power to think of it from so many different perspectives too.
Well, and it's so nice when they actually like use the powers that they have and like, the resources that they have to solve the case of a woman, and it is not, or solve the case of a murder case in general. Right. But it is not to go like we fully acknowledge that the only reason that this happened, especially in 1986, is because she was a beautiful white woman. There is no question about that in our
Mm-mm.
mindset. If this had been any of those three things was not present, that it wasn't a woman, she wasn't beautiful, and she wasn't white,
Right.
this would not have gotten this far.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
Unfucking believable. And I will say, total sidetrack, but missing white woman syndrome, I have never heard of that or thought about it having a name until Gabby Petito's case.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild that is an actual fucking thing.
Yeah.
Especially in terms like when we're really considering like the media coverage, because this case didn't get any sort of media coverage for quite a while.
For sure.
America. I fell asleep to Gone Girl last night.
Oh my god, I have that in my notes later.
Do you?
Well, not that I fell asleep to Gone Girl, but like, I'll get to it. Okay.
Okay.
So one of the first people that they brought in was Marty I don't know how to say this. O'Rodin. O'Rodin. I don't know. He's a homicide.
O'Doyle rules.
He was a homicide investigator. And actually, it's a woman. Wait, was her name Mary? Did I put an extra T in there? Fuck.
No, it's Marty.
Oh, why do I have she then? Is it a woman named Marty?
No, wait, let's give it a goog. Oh, yep, it's a man. He was a loving husband.
Okay. Marty O'Ridan. I don't know how to say that. Homicide investigator. O'Ridan? Maybe?
O'Ridan?
We're just going to go with Marty.
Yeah.
So Marty, our homicide investigator that was called in by Dr. Lee, was... he found the snowplow driver, his name was Joseph Hine, Hero Joseph, to pinpoint the spot on the bridge where he saw the wood chipper. And the spot was where the Housatonic River runs into Lake Zowak. So they started searching that whole area, and they found, to summarize the list, they found a painted fingernail on a wall, next to a wall on top of a pile of leaves. They found a lot of hair and
2,660 pieces of hair.
I know. I didn't even know I had that many strands of hair on my head. So they found a lot of hair, and then they found her letter in the wood chips, which this is how I know that there is a higher power. That letter did not go through the wood chipper. It was completely intact when they found it.
Bananas.
And that was one of the major pieces of evidence that they used in the jury trial to convince the jury that it had to be Helle's body. And then they also found blue-green fibers, which were the same color as her favorite nightgown, and they found gray metal, which was thought to be the crown on a tooth, because back then we did metal crowns, not like we have, I don't even know what they're made of today, but they look like teeth today. And then they found a bunch of tiny bone fragments. And then they had a bunch of divers go into the water, where they found pieces of a chainsaw with a serial number scratched off of the chainsaw, which again, diabolical and some planning by Richard Cross to think, I'm gonna scratch this serial number off my chainsaw before I throw it in this river because I murdered my wife with it. Oh my god. Okay. So all this stuff was sent to the police state forensic lab in Meriden, Connecticut, I think is how it's pronounced. I don't know that city, but
on December 25th, which Merry fucking Christmas, 1986, over a month after she went missing, an 11-page affidavit was filed where detectives listed many supporting facts as to why they believed a search should be done on the Crafts' home. And as you said earlier, at this time, Richard was on vacation with the kids in Florida, which, why does it always come back to fucking Florida? Why does Florida have a tie to everything?
Girl, try living there.
It's unreal. So this gave the police their advantage to go into the house because he wasn't aware. So investigators and crime scene technicians entered the Crafts' home through a back window. Once they got inside, they found an empty home basically in complete disarray. Furniture was all over the place, as were dirty clothes and dishes were left unwashed in the sink and on countertops, which grosses me out.
Gross. It's because there was no woman anymore.
Right. There you go. A mattresses laid on the living room floor with boxes of toys all over the place. Detectives found that carpet had been pulled up and discarded. They found a freezer in the house, but nothing was inside of it. But what they didn't know was that this was an old freezer that Crafts already had. They also found dozens of weapons inside the house. In the end, they seized about 108 pieces of evidence. And at this point, obviously, the case went from a missing persons investigation to a homicide investigation. Luckily, like you said, in this instance, I think there is a higher power because they were able to use a chemical solution to remove the upper layers of the metal that was eroded by the water and reveal the serial numbers of the chainsaw.
That's one of my favorite like pieces of forensic evidence that I've ever encountered
Hell
in a
yeah.
case. That is, I would never even think that that's possible.
No. I would think that once it's gone, it's gone. It's
Exactly.
like rubbing it like off of a gun or whatever.
Yeah, it's like a undoing spell.
Yeah.
Like fucking Harry Potter shit.
That serial number was 5921616.
We are the same. I also have the serial number.
Do you?
I know.
It's so cool. So that serial number was matched to a warranty registration card sent in by Richard, which again, like in so many ways, he was really turning himself over in the very fucking end. They were able to test the hair and against a hairbrush from Helle's bathroom or house or whatever. That's how they matched it and learned that it belonged to Helle. A chemist compared a bottle of red nail polish found at the house against the nail found at the scene, and it too was a match. Mm-hmm. And by now, the media picks up on the case and the story of the disappearance of Helle, and word literally spreads across the world. Mm-hmm. And to no surprise, Richard maintains his innocence by saying he doesn't know where Helle is and that he passed a lie detector test, or several, earlier on. And even after all this damning evidence is found and speculations are made, they still cannot prove that Helle is dead. One thing that the team did in trying to figure out if it in fact was Helle's before they could, pull samples from the bones that they found, they rented a wood chipper and they put a pig through the chipper because their skin and bones are the same as humans, which is bananas.
It's disgusting.
Very disgusting. Dr. Lee said he noticed that the chipper produced a very unique signature type of cut that matched the debris they found at the river. And Dr. Harper said he was given millimeter-sized fragments of bone and that it was possible that they did come from a human. He also noticed that there were grooves inside of the bone fragments, and he explains that they were formed by blood vessels inside the top of the skull, something only humans have, which is unreal. Like, science is
so cool.
Yeah.
That's why we believe science.
Yes. These fractures were, quote, beveling outwards, meaning the force is coming from the inside. They still could not determine if Helle was killed before or after it happened, but they certainly knew that she was dead after it happened. To really help figure out whose remains these were, Dr. Harper ground some of these bone fragments into a very fine powder, and tests revealed that they came from a person with type O positive blood, which, as you said earlier, was the same type as Helle's. Mm-hmm. Next, they turned their attention to the crown they found because they believed it belonged to a human tooth. There weren't any human remains attached to the crown, so they couldn't use that as a form of identification. In comes Dr. Gus Karazoulis.
Sure, your guess is as good as mine.
Great. He's a forensic odontologist. He said that he was asked by Dr. Lee to return to the riverbank to look for more evidence, where he and a team were searching for 5 days.
Well, the main reason, I just think this is important to note, that the crown somehow had no human remains on it, which is crazy because all of these other pieces of like metal and things that we have found had a lot of human remains on them, but somehow this one crown that came out of her tooth didn't have any human remains on it, which maybe because it was attached to the tooth and no other part of her flesh. Like teeth is not flesh.
Right.
So maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so that's why they had to go back to the river. Anyway, go
on. While he was there, Dr. Karazoulis, he slipped and fell, and when he fell, he was holding a pail bucket being used to collect evidence. And when he got up, he cleaned his hands off in the bucket and took it back to the tent. And he said when he set the bucket down, he washed his hands and went back over to the bucket. He noticed a tooth.
Again, higher power.
Yeah. But side note, this part really grossed me out because I like to consider myself very well groomed and put together. But in this part of Forensic Files, we see someone grabbing a fragment of a tooth. And immediately I was like, okay, great, that's a tooth. But my eyes like veered left and started looking at this person's cuticles.
No.
And the cuticles were disgusting.
Why did you do that?
They were like an inch thick. Why would you let someone zoom in on your hand like that?
Ew.
It grosses me out.
Yeah, especially because that person was definitely not a scientist. That person was definitely an extra.
Right.
You're an actor.
Yes.
Groom yourself.
Take care of your cuticles.
Be on camera.
So Dr. Karazulus was able to identify and match the tooth found as belonging to Helle through dental records.
Yeah, again, just happenstance. She had dental work and x-rays done within the month that she went
Is
missing.
that right?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how they knew that or they had like, you know, the most up-to-date x-rays that you could possibly have.
Shit. So based on the forensic evidence, on January 11th, Richard is arrested. When police showed up, Richard refused to leave. He was quoted as telling the officers, quote, "I'm tired. I'll deal with it in the morning."
Oh my.
And I wonder if in his mind too, maybe he thought, okay, great. And if they do leave because I work for the police or whatever, but maybe who's to say he had a sense of like wanting to die by suicide?
Maybe. You just saying that though made me wonder if maybe that has a influence on them taking it to the state police because he worked with local jurisdictions. I never thought about that before.
Go. No, me either.
I wonder if that has anything to do with it.
Eventually, he was taken into custody with bail set at $750,000.
Do you want to know how much that is today? I looked it up.
Yes.
$1,955,000, $354.31.
See, the 31 cents is what would break the bank. You're like, fuck, I can't do it. Even if it is 10%, but damn.
Yeah, that's still $190,000.
Fuck. On January 13th, 1987, I'm leaving that in. A death certificate is issued. And on January 9th, 1990, Richard was sentenced to 50 years in prison. This was the first murder conviction in the state of Connecticut without a body. And to this day, of course, Richard maintains his innocence.
Mm-hmm. So a couple things about the trial. Like I mentioned earlier, there were two separate flight attendants that testified to having a long-running affair with Richard. And then there was a separate witness that testified that Helle might have also been having an affair.
Oh.
Which, again, marriage of convenience, not love.
Yeah. But also don't blame the victim.
Absolutely not.
Don't do that.
That was definitely, you know, Richard's defense team probably found that witness.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, they did testify to it, but people testified to a lot of shit that's not actually true.
Dr. Lee.
Yeah. Super gory trial. They showed a lot of the pictures and videos of like them collecting the forensic evidence, including the pig going through the wood chipper.
Shit.
They showed that to the jury.
Oh, God.
Can you imagine being on that jury?
No.
Have you ever been on a jury?
No.
I have.
You have?
Yeah.
I want to so badly.
So they showed all of that evidence, and then they also tried to claim, the defense team tried to claim basically that Helle gone girled herself and that she had faked her own death. Yes.
No fucking way.
Yes. The lead of his defense team, the attorney referenced in an article or in an interview that the movie Body Heat, which was a 1981 movie that I have never seen, but apparently has a very similar premise to Gone Girl, that
no shit.
She basically fakes her own death.
I didn't know that.
Which, like, how do you get bone fragments out of your body to fake your own death? That is some fucked up accusatory bullshit.
God. They really will reach for anything, too. To, like, help build their case.
Which, like, I understand. Okay, so I've debated this because I thought about going to law school for a long time, that, like, people are like, oh, well, defense attorneys are trash because they're defending murderers. And, like, in this case, they're defending murderers or whatever. And there is a place for, like, you need defense attorneys, right? Because they're protecting people from being railroaded by the court or whatever.
Right.
But when you are a defense attorney that goes with some, you know, bullshit theory that somebody faked their own death or whatever, in a case where it's extremely obvious that they did not fake their own death because you cannot get bone fragments from yourself, then that's what makes you a trash defense attorney. Defense attorneys in general, absolutely necessary. 100%. That is very noble work. I was never interested in being a defense attorney when I thought about going to law school, but that it has nothing to do with people thinking that you're trash or whatever. But this is bullshit. This is horrible and gives a really bad name to all defense attorneys.
I hope they feel like shit too and stub their toe every day. Assholes.
So another thing about the trial is that it began in one place. I found conflicting information on where it was originally held and then where it was moved to.
Uh-huh.
But I think it was started in New London, and then it was ultimately actually held in. Okay, never mind. But it was started in one place,
Uh-huh.
and then they had to stop the trial because there was so much publicity that they could not get through the trial.
That sucks.
And also there were 2 trials that the first one was a hung jury, and then the second one finally convicted him. He was sentenced. I believe the first prison he went to was McDougal Correctional Institution in Suffield, Connecticut. And then in August 1999, he was transferred to Garner Correctional Facility back in Newtown, which is pretty weird that he got sent back to his hometown.
I'm surprised they did that, yeah.
Or like where he lived when he was convicted. And then today, well, the last I found, I couldn't find anything more recent than this, but on January 29th of 2020, he was moved into a homeless shelter for veterans in Bridgeport, Connecticut, which Bridgeport is the rough part of Connecticut.
Okay.
So that was interesting to me that it's a homeless.
But why in a veteran's home?
You said he was in the Marines, right?
Oh shit! Yeah, yeah, I did. I was like, wow, that's a weird place to put him.
So yeah, but part of that move is that he was still being supervised by correctional officers and stuff. So he wasn't totally out of the clear.
Okay.
But he was supposed to be cleared completely by June of 2020. But I could not find an update on whether or not he was actually cleared of that. But he was 86, I think, when he was moved into this homeless shelter.
That's so shitty that he was just basically let out into the world again.
I know. Even at 86, you can still hurt people. You can still pull the trigger on a gun.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Do better, justice system. And I guess that could lead into the argument of he was in there for, it was 50 years, right?
No, he didn't end up serving. He was sentenced to 50 years, but he didn't end up serving all 50 years because he was sentenced in 90, you said?
I think 89? So. Yeah.
So 90 to 2000 to 2020 is only 30 years.
He didn't serve a lot of time then.
Yeah.
Even so, 50 years isn't shit for what he did.
No.
No. But I guess it could lead into the argument of if he did serve all 50 years of his sentence, yeah, he did his time. But no one like that deserves to be a part of society again, no matter how reformed they are.
Yeah, if you're willing to murder someone with basically your bare hands
with your kids in the house,
with
too.
With your kids in the house, someone that you previously married and you premeditated this murder because he bought that extra cooler.
Yep.
Or freezer beforehand. That's premeditation in my mind. Murder one, I don't think you should ever be released. No, I don't believe in the death penalty, but I don't believe you should ever be released.
I agree. He should have definitely been forced to live his days out in corrections.
With his colon cancer, that didn't actually exist.
He should have actually gotten colon cancer.
This is how I know he didn't have colon cancer, because he definitely would have died in prison if he had colon cancer.
Yeah, especially at that time, too.
Yeah.
Damn it. Poor Helle.
Do you have anything else to add?
I don't.
Okay.
It's just so sad.
I have 2 pop culture references.
Okay,
This is my favorite thing, is when murders are, or crimes, I guess, more broadly, are featured in pop culture things. So, my favorite, which I mentioned this earlier, in the special edition DVD of the 1996 film Fargo, which you have not seen, right?
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, we talked about this.
No.
You need to watch it. Contains a statement that the film was inspired by the Crafts case, particularly the very end of the film, where a character is killed and their body is put through a wood chipper. So there's a scene in the movie of a guy putting a bare foot, but there's a pant leg attached to it, into a wood chipper, and somebody just walks by and he's just putting the
waving
foot in the wood chipper.
Holy shit.
So watch Fargo if you haven't seen it.
Okay.
And then in The Good Doctor, which is an episode of Law & Order Criminal Intent, the investigation goes into the missing wife of a plastic surgeon, leads to a successful conviction without a corpse, under the theory that the body was dissolved in sulfuric acid in the bathtub and the bones dumped out of the husband's single-engine aircraft. So it's not as direct because there's no wood chipper, obviously,
right?
But it's the pilot thing and the murder of the wife and the conviction without a body.
Without a body. Holy shit.
Yeah, those are the 2 pop culture references to this case.
Oh, God.
But yes, poor Helle, may she rest in peace.
I hope so.
And
I know he got sentenced, but I feel like to go back to the whole serving time thing, like I feel like she really got no justice.
Yeah.
At all.
I always wonder what happened to like the kids in this situation. Like, do
Yeah.
they still have a relationship with their father?
Fuck, I hope not.
Yeah, I know. But that's like such a difficult position to be in as a
Mm-hmm.
child. Like, you know, especially if you like grew up. I don't know. I mean, we know that he was physically abusive towards Helle, but
Right.
we don't know that he was towards his kids. Like, if they had a great childhood, like they would have a really hard time
Hell yeah.
separating those two men in their minds of like the man who raised them and gave them a great life, but also the man who fucking murdered their mother.
And I wonder if they ever have been back to Florida or go back to Florida, because that was like the last place where they probably had some sense of normalcy.
The trauma.
Yeah. Oh, so sad.
So sad.
Oh, well, we did it, you guys.
Yay.
Episode 2 of Helle Crafts. Thank you for tuning in, for clicking play,
Yeah.
for joining us.
Letting it just continue on if
Yeah.
you were already listening.
Yeah. Hopefully you were able to get your kitchen cleaned or really clean that grout tile that you've been eyeing.
Commute to work.
Yes. That's it. Follow us on Instagram at Your Next Pod. Suggest a case to us if you have one. But we will see you guys. Well, no, you'll see us. You'll listen to us. Whatever. 2 weeks. Yeah.
Unless you're binging this later.
Yeah, unless you're binging.
Do you want to tell them what we're doing next week? Or 2 weeks?
In 2 weeks, we're doing the case of Jane Bashara. Is that how you say it?
I think so.
You guys, this case is a motherfucking doozy of a doozy.
Yeah.
If you're ready for one that has just layers and layers, more layers than an onion, I would highly suggest listening to it. There's so many great things you can watch on it also, if you want to kind of get teed up before our episode comes out. But damn, I'm excited for that one.
Me too.
And you have what? You said like 16 pages of notes already?
Already.
Damn. Well, I'm way behind. But yeah, this was a good one, and I'm excited for Jane.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys soon.
See you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye.